Example 2 is very similar to example 1, except for this time our x is the one being squared and our y is the one by itself. So we're going to go ahead and put this in standard form by getting our y by itself and then completing the square. So the first thing we need to do is get this y and move it over to the right-hand side. Since it's a minus y, we're going to add it over to the other side. And this gives us 2x squared minus 16x plus 28 equal to y. And then we're going to group together our x's. So we'll group together the x squared and the x, leaving that 28 outside. And as I group these together, I'm going to factor out the 2 that I have in front right here. So I get 2 times x squared. And if I factor the 2 out of the 16, I get a minus 8x. And I'm going to leave my space for completing my square. And then outside my parentheses, I have plus 28. And then I need to make room for that opposite, and that's equal to y. To figure out the number that goes in here to complete my square, I'm going to take this middle number, I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. So I get 8 divided by 2. That's going to be squared, and that's going to end up in there. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 squared would give me 16. Now if I add 16 to the inside here, I have to remember that this 16 is also being affected by the 2 that's on the outside. So 2 times 16 is actually what I've added to this side, which is 32. And I need to add the opposite of that on the outside, which would be negative 32. Completing my square, I get 2 times x minus 4 squared minus 4 equal to y. The next thing I need is my vertex. To find my vertex, I need my h and my k. My h is going to be with the x, and my k is going to be on the outside this time. So opposite of what it was in example 1. So my vertex is the point 4, negative 4. And then once I have my vertex, I can go ahead and make my table of values. Putting my vertex in the middle. And this time, since I have my x's in this side here, and I'm solving for y, it's going to be easier to choose x values instead of y values. So I'm going to choose a couple numbers below 4 and a couple numbers after 4. So I'll go with 3 and 2 and 5 and 6. And then I'm just going to go ahead and plug them in. So I'm going to take each of my x values, and I'm going to plug it into my equation over here to get my y value. So you can pause this for a second, make sure you can plug it in right, and then check your answers. If you did plug it in correctly, your y values should be 4, negative 2, and 4. And then finally, we'll go ahead and we'll graph our parabola. So our first point is the point 2, 4. So we'll graph our point 2, 4. Then we have the point 3, negative 2, the point 4, negative 4, 5, negative 2, and 6, 4. And draw in your U-shaped graph. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you can move on to example 3.